Good morning to all once again. My name is Marcos Orellana. I am the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Toxics and Human Rights. And as I was saying, the EU Chemical Strategy for Sustainability was a watershed moment in shaping the narrative of the role of chemicals in society. Political pledges, such as the chemical strategy, are important because they set the tone and they set direction, but they are not enough. Concrete action is needed. Actual regulations and directives have an impact on reality. There have been several important advances in Europe as a result of the strategy. In particular, the Commission has delivered on various important pieces. For example, a proposal for the revision to the regulation on the classification, labeling, and packaging of chemicals, which introduces new hazard classes for endocrine disrupting, bioaccumulating, persistent and mobile chemicals, allows for classification of entire group of chemicals, includes transparency obligations for all stakeholders, among other elements. A restrictions roadmap, which sets the EU agenda to restrict the most harmful groups of chemicals in the coming years. A recommendation for safe and sustainable by design chemicals and materials to guide the innovation process and promote the design and use of safe chemicals. But the chemical strategy for sustainability has also led to certain unfulfilled promises. The revision of REACH has been indefinitely postponed without clear justification. The Commission has yet to propose criteria to identify essential uses of chemicals. The restrictions roadmap was published but not effectively implemented. But perhaps the most concerning is the lack of progress to put an end to the export of prohibited pesticides. What's clear is that there cannot be a European industrial deal without placing respect to the right to a healthy environment at the center of action. Export of prohibited pesticides are a form of discrimination that involves odious double standards. The human body is the same the world over. The hazardous pesticides that Europe exports eventually circle back to Europe. No country or region can fence off its boundaries to toxic pollution. At times, it is argued that a ban is likely to be ineffective, as production will be displaced elsewhere and exposure will continue. However, that is a reason to phase out highly hazardous pesticides globally, not a reason to condone legalized exploitation of farmers and local communities in developing countries. It is also argued that importing countries are sovereign to decide what not to import. This is plain sophism because often importing countries are plagued by corruption and weak governance, and invariably they lack adequate capacities to address chemical risks. The reality is that exports of prohibited pesticides result in harm to the life and health of people in the weakest link of the food supply chain, poor farmers and children in the fields of the global south. The European Union's leadership is indispensable to put an end to this situation. To conclude, I wish to congratulate the government of Belgium for leading on issues of chemicals and wastes, and particularly for adopting legally binding measures to put an end to the abhorrent double standards in the export of prohibited pesticides from its territory. The European Union should follow suit and adopt the necessary regulatory changes to put an end to this odious practice. Thank you very much for your attention.